Parents are still fuming over what their kids are being taught in schools, but now more upset at our nation's attorney general, who's added insult to injury by targeting parents as potential domestic terrorists for taking a stand. Miranda Devine of the New York Post says AG Garland is at war with American families, and I agree with her. She joins me now. Miranda, great to see you. Yeah, I reread this incredible memo from our Attorney General. What it really reads like to me, because what he's asking for is the FBI to work with local law enforcement and local officials, school board officials, et cetera, to target particular parents. I used to cover Latin America. I went to Cuba several times. I know the way they operate. They have the National Secret Police operate with local snitches to target people that are against the administration. That's what this reads like to me. It's like something out of East Germany, where the Stasi would do the same. Their secret police would work with local snitches that were against, that would go against people that were against the government. That's frightening to me. Is it to you?
Oh, look, absolutely, David. You've hit the nail right on the head. This is really authoritarian overreach by the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. And what makes it even more sinister is some information that's been dug up by Stephen Miller, the former Trump advisor, and his new group, his new legal group. And they have written a letter now to the Director General asking for an investigation into the exact timeline of how Merrick Garland came to act so swiftly within 5 days of this really over-the-top, hyperbolic, dishonest letter that was written by the National School Boards Association, accusing parents of being domestic terrorists, right, and urging the president, this was a letter to the president written on September 29, urging him to sic the FBI, the Secret Service, various other federal law enforcement bodies onto parents. And according to Stephen Miller and this letter that he's written, there was actually collusion, allegedly, between the White House and various stakeholders, teacher unions and other supporters of President Biden, and they had a meeting and expressed concern in early September about the impact that these parents' protests at school board meetings would have in the midterm elections. Right. They were concerned about it from a political point of view, because of course parents now, they've had a year of watching their children do remote learning, and they've had a really good insight into the sorts of things they're being taught at public schools, and they're not happy about it.
So just to put a fine point on it, what's happening now is that left-wing groups who don't like to be criticized for their woke politics are targeting parents that are just furious, and they're not threatening anybody's lives or threatening any physical harm or anything. They're just really upset, and they're really mad, and understandably so, because they're the ones that pay for their kids' education through taxes. They're the ones that are supposed to have control or at least influence in their kids' education through our local school systems, and they're not. And they're understandably mad about it, but they're being pinpointed as domestic terrorists using hate speech and these key words, phrases from the woke culture.
Well, and using the Patriot Act is one of the suggestions from the National Schools Board, which is itself a left-wing organisation. And parents have every right to object to having their children brainwashed, turned into little mini social justice warriors, to be pitted against each other on the basis of skin colour, and to have gender ideology thrust down their throat, and all sorts of other really unsavoury aspects of left-wing indoctrination. And parents are awake to it. They're not going to put up with it. And of course, this is causing a problem for left-wingers and Democrats. So they've decided to enlist the heavy hand of the FBI and federal law enforcement to intimidate and silence parents. But I'm told by the parent groups that no one is intimidated. They're not going to stop. Well,
you point out in your column, you say only a fool pokes a mama bear. And I think you're right.
That's right. And, you know, Merrick Garland is a very powerful person. He has the entire weaponised Department of Justice behind him and all those fearsome laws. But he's come up against a force that is much stronger than he is and his weaponised DOJ, and that is the love of parents for their children. So woe betide him for trying to poke the mama bears.
Well, and the whole Biden administration is taking on the middle class. That's what's going on here. As I was talking to Jason Chaffetz moments ago, the entire middle class is being targeted. We don't have much time, but I just have to say the mama bears could do what the Tea Party did in 2010, that is dislodge the Democrats from their leadership roles in the House of Representatives and the Senate. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And, you know, the irony is that these are the very suburban mums who Biden appealed to as being the anti-Trump and pretended to be the unifying president. A lot of these suburban mums voted for him and now find that they've been betrayed by him.
And it puts the Biden administration and the DOJ and Garland specifically into the position of criminalizing parenting. I mean, this is what parents are supposed to do, care about what goes into their kid's head. I mean, it's just extraordinary. I don't know how they get the gumption to do all this. Very quickly, do you think that eventually Garland is going to have to beg off of this very quickly?
Look, I don't think they are. I think they're drunk on power. I think the only thing that will stop them is a really almighty slap in the midterms and then to be thrown out of office altogether in 2024. Okay. I think the Democrats need to resolve the problems inside their own party, and they need to remove the progressives who are destroying their party.
The great Miranda Devine, wonderful to see you again, Miranda. Thank you so much.